Hi, and welcome to the Bible Breakdown Special Edition. Haven't done anything in a couple of days, so here I am. And what I have done the last few days is finally got my book published on Amazon.com. You can find it underneath Stephen Whitsitt. It is called MIddleism Eschatology. And so today I want to give a few introductions into the book and give you kind of a rough basis of the arguments that I am presenting in that for you. And the first thing to understand is that Middleism Eschatology is nothing more than just a play on words. It was something that I invented from something I heard somebody else. There is no intent, get this people, there is no intent for me to start some kind of new eschatology or some new form like Darbyism or full preterism or any other type of new thing. Basically what Middleism is just a refreshing application of new understandings to what the early church fathers taught and said and believed. And it started, my journey with the whole thing, started with the idea that all of the early church fathers, every single one of them, held to a future second coming. But they also held to the fact that the Olivet was completely fulfilled in 70 AD. You could look at Eusebius, Church History, in Book 3. He quotes Josephus, and he talks about the whole 70 AD thing, and he talks about the prophecies of Christ through the Olivet being completely fulfilled. And so when we examine all the context, yes, even a priest would sit there and say the Olivet was completely fulfilled in 70 AD. It was all of it, including the second coming. Now that's where we have the problem. Because historically the church fathers all said it was fulfilled, but they also believed in the second coming. Barnabas, probably one of them, his epistle was probably one of the first written after AD 70. And closest to those events, it stated very clearly that he believed the destruction of Jerusalem was based on a judgment of God, and yet stated in the same epistle that, of course, that Christ was coming again in the future. How do you handle this? Well, bottom line is that preterist scholarship deny the testimony of the early church fathers. You have to hold to Josephus and say, see, that's when Jerusalem was destroyed in AD 70. Well, how do you know that without going to external sources to find that information out? The same thing is true. If we go to external sources to find out Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, we go to external sources also to understand the literal events of his second coming, the rapture, or anything else associated. Did it happen? And of course, when we look at history, no. We have no record from anybody saying any of those things happened. So the result is Don Preston and the others have to argue that all of those events did happen. Therefore, they were all spiritual events not to be witnessed in this realm or this physical realm. And then by doing so, he destroys biblical hermeneutics for 2,000 years by coming to that kind of a type of a conclusion. Now, getting back to one other comment I need to make is that I am not a dispensationalist. I see many things wrong with it and don't hold to that view. Now, in my book, I go through basically three aspects. The first one being, of course, is I give the breakdown of a premillennial post-trib coming of Christ, meaning he comes after the trib and before the millennium begins. That is Christ coming. And all the things that happened at that point forward and backwards and all is, of course, marked by that mark. And all of it never talks about it, and Revelation does. So in the book, I deal with that part of it. The second part is I've woven into all the arguments presented by preterists, and those are all woven in and answers to them directly. And thirdly, the last section of the book, I deal with and post a lot of my blogs that I've written over the years concerning arguments and things that preterists have said. And so I deal with the passing away of the law, the death of Adam, the resurrection body, the nature of the resurrection, the nature of his physical bodily return, and all of those questions and answers is what I go through this whole book. Now, the third aspect, of course, is that a lot of the basis of this was a result of my master's thesis. And I finished up today the last and third final question, which had to do with, of course, Pauline theology and the new perspective, which was quite interesting and good. Quite a piece of work there. So I finished all that up. I'm waiting for the grading, and by the 15th I should have my grade. And all indications, of course, right now is that, all I have to do then, of course, is wait for that little piece of paper to come say, hey, you finished your classes, congratulations. So pretty much that is all done. My wife is going through, thank you, classes are over and all of that. So the book is written really kind of easy for anybody to be able to read it and understand and get the idea of what is the premillennial post-coming view and why it rejects dispensationalism, postmillennial, amillennials. It gives those basic arguments as to why those things are not correct also. And anything else on that? No, I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you for buying the book. Thank you for reading it. And I look forward to dialogue with people. And anything else? No, that was it. So thank you again. And you guys have a good night. And I'll catch you on the other side.